Good afternoon. Thanks for returning to watch our second episode of the new season. We're glad you can make it.
Bobby, just like old times.
It's good to see you again, buddy.
Wait, didn't you grow a beard to show the passage of time?
What? No, what beard?
You definitely had a beard when you read our editorial last week.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Bobby, you had a beard and you will not convince me otherwise.
Think what you want to think. We gotta get to the news.
Right, like how Xbox Live is launching on multiple consoles this year.
Or how Bubsy Paws on Fire launched a Kickstarter campaign for tack-on DLC.
Or that the Groundhog Day movie is finally getting a sequel, and it's a VR game.
Wait, what?
Yeah, dude. We have all of that and a discussion with our PC analyst, Walker Peters, about the new Apex Legends Battle Royale.
And don't forget today's editorial, written by Tanner Mizelle, talking about Nintendo's change in its mobile approach.
And instead of a game review this week, we have a surprise for those who stayed tuned in. So please, stay tuned in.
Well, let's get right to it. I'm Bobby Eggins.
I'm Jean-Luc Clark, and we hope you enjoy your stay here on PixelPeak.
On Monday, Microsoft accidentally revealed, via the name of a panel scheduled for this year's Game Developers Conference, that it was bringing Xbox Live to other platforms, including the Nintendo Switch. Windows Central's Jez Corden first noticed it through a tip and reported that Microsoft is continuing on what it did with Minecraft's cross-platform expansion and creating opportunities for developers to further bridge the gap between systems. This will allow players on Xbox, Switch, PC, iOS, or Android to earn Xbox achievements, play multiplayer, and more together when the integration goes live. Microsoft has since adjusted the name and description of the program, but the announcement has undoubtedly been spoiled. This move comes as Microsoft is taking a page out of Nintendo's book and looking for ways to expand the populace of players. As billions of people are using smartphones every day to play games, Microsoft is trying to reach into that market with its upcoming streaming service, Project xCloud. We talked about Project xCloud in episodes 4 and 5 of PixelPeak if you're looking for more information about that.
Last Monday, a new partnership took form as Sledgehammer Games co-founder Michael Condrey joined 2K Games in a new studio located in the Silicon Valley. Excited about the collaboration, 2K president David Ismir shared the company's view of Condrey after this announcement. Michael's unparalleled creative, production, and leadership accolades are well documented and deserved, Ismailer says. We are greatly inspired not only by his passion, but the potential for his new studio to complement our existing portfolio and development expertise. Condrey's work up until this point has mostly consisted of Call of Duty entries like Modern Warfare 3, Advanced Warfare, and World War II, but he has also led Visceral Games in making the influential Dead Space in 2008. Even though the studio doesn't have a name yet, Condrey and his team are already working on a brand new title, and the longtime fans of his work are hoping it's another dive into the horror genre.
When the Bubsy series first launched in 1993, it didn't see critical acclaim or worldwide success among players. Somehow, the series, focusing on the exploits of a sarcastic orange bobcat, continued on for 3 more entries, culminating in the almost exclusively panned Bubsy 3D before the incredibly 90s feline went into a 21-year hibernation. One of 2017's biggest surprises, however, was the revival of the Bubsy franchise and the bewilderment that surrounded that decision. No one really asked for Bubsy, but he was bestowed onto us nonetheless, and he carried that momentum into 2018, when his most recent game, Bubsy Paws on Fire, was announced. Paws on Fire is due out in April 2019, and in an additional and surprising move, publisher Accolade announced a Kickstarter campaign on Monday to fund the creation of additional DLC for the game. The campaign is seeking $25,000 to add the content, and if players collectively pony up, they will see the inclusion of 2 new costumes and additional quippy remarks from Bubsy himself in-game. If backers hit stretch goals for the campaign, Accolade is looking to add a new character, a new boss, and additional levels when Paws on Fire releases this spring.
It's not often that an official sequel to a hit movie turns out to be a video game, but Sony showed to us last Monday that maybe it should be done a little more. A trailer for the official sequel to 1993's Groundhog Day, titled Groundhog Day, Like Father, Like Son, showed off a VR title that would follow the son of the original movie's protagonist, Phil Connors. Phil Connors Jr., as the name of the game implies, experiences the same day over and over just like his father did, but Sony has clarified that the title is completely separate in story content from the movie that hit theaters more than 25 years ago. The end of the trailer states that the game is coming soon, but to prevent the endless cycle of release date questions fans would have, Sony confirmed that the game would be coming by the end of 2019. With all of the announcements for the new VR hardware at this year's Consumers Technology Association event, let's hope that more games like this one can accompany that hardware.
Tommy Chung, a Twitch streamer and staff at Hi-Rez Studios as a community specialist, was fired last week for being charged with child predation in the Brookhaven, Georgia area. An undercover operation organized by the Georgia Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force was taking place over Super Bowl weekend, and the force caught 20 other men arranging sex acts with minors. In a statement to US Gamer, a representative of Hi-Rez Studios said, "As a parent, it is difficult to imagine more disturbing allegations than those laid out in the news reports." Hi-Rez Studios also commended the Georgia Bureau of Investigations for finding and punishing said behavior and supported other law enforcement in protecting Georgia's children. SteelSeries, PC accessories manufacturer and Chung's sponsor on Twitch, tweeted that they would no longer be supporting or sponsoring him in any of his endeavors.
Titanfall developer Respawn Entertainment has a busy year ahead of them. The company released the free hero battle royale game Apex Legends on Monday, has Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order coming later in 2019, and according to Electronic Arts CEO Andrew Wilson, there is another game set in the Titanfall universe coming later this year. Wilson told investors over the phone that the game will be a new twist on the Titanfall universe and said it is a truly creative take on what Titanfall is in a premium context. Respawn Entertainment co-founder Vince Zampella also took to Twitter to echo the announcement, saying, "We are also working on more Titanfall for later in the year." Yes, I said the T word. "We love being able to experiment in this crazy universe. This comes after what was originally set to be Titanfall 3 morphed into what is now Apex Legends." EA also announced that the day before that Titanfall 3 is not currently in development. It seems that after the lackluster sales of Titanfall 2, Respawn is shelving the main series for the time being and seeing what else it can do in the Titanfall world.
This week saw another wave of Mortal Kombat 11 roster announcements as we edge closer to the game's April 23rd release date. Over the past week, Kano and Cabal saw announcements, as well as Mortal Kombat 10's Devora. On top of the 11 confirmed fighters, series head Ed Boon also said on Twitter that fans can expect plenty more character announcements ahead of the game's release. Boon said in a tweet, "We love how passionate Mortal Kombat fans are to see their favorite fighters return. Please don't stop that. But remember, each announcement doesn't mean your favorite isn't in the game. Be patient, so many soon-to-be confirmed classic fighter announcements are coming." NetherRealm also took a moment to shoot down the petition to put Scooby-Doo's Shaggy in Mortal Kombat 11 after the rise of a meme that made the scrawny Mystery Machine crew member out to be the most powerful being in the universe. Boon had previously played up the hype around Shaggy last week, but in the combat cast that saw the announcement of Cabal, community manager Tyler Lansdowne made sure to squash the joke once and for all, saying, "Shaggy will not be in the game at all, ever. Sorry, dead meme, no Shaggy in Mortal Kombat. This is your first official deconfirmation."
After more than half a year, we're finally hearing something about the Halo Infinite title that was revealed at E3 2018. It's not gameplay or cutscenes, or even a new promo, just a statement concerning the game's story. Justin Roby, director of player voice for 343, revealed in the developer's social stream on Monday that they were trying to make the story of Halo Infinite both interesting for veterans and comprehensible for first-time players. In the stream, he says, "Halo is one of those franchises where we have a lot of players who are probably going to come back when we release Halo Infinite, and we want to make sure as it gets in there that people aren't lost." This was in response to the known backlash about the complexity and untraditional methods of Halo 5 storytelling, which Roby detailed that 343 will be stepping away from in favor of a more friendly, Master Chief-centered story.
The latest expansion for Square Enix's current MMO, Final Fantasy XIV Online, finally has an official release date. The previously announced Shadowbringers expansion will be coming on July 2nd with a twist. Shadowbringers will be kicking off a new Alliance Raid series that will be associated with Square Enix's other IP, Nier Automata. The series is titled Yora: Dark Apocalypse, and although not much is currently known, fans of both franchises now have a reason to get excited. The collector's edition of Shadowbringers, announced with the release date, comes in at a whopping $200 and includes a hardcover art book, a Dark Knight figure, playing cards with character art, and several digital downloads to make the price worth it. For those that can only afford getting the expansion, however, the perk for purchasing early is that buyers can play starting on June 28th instead of on the official release date of July 2nd. And now, on to our analysis segment. For today's analysis, we're diving into Apex Legends, a brand new battle royale. It's not Fortnite, PUBG, or Blackout. Trust us, this one's different.
Here we have our PC and analyst, Walker Peters, to tell us more. Walker, to begin, I just want to have a quick conversation of Apex Legends. What is it, and how can people play it?
So Apex Legends is a new free-to-play battle royale game from Respawn Studios, the makers of Titanfall and Titanfall 2, published by EA. It's free to play. It just came out last week. You can download it right now and start playing on PC, Xbox, or PS4.
So you mentioned Respawn. Can you tell us a little more about them?
Respawn Entertainment was founded by a couple of the minds behind the early Call of Duty games, which were, of course, very influential shooters. EA had hired them to help helm the next big sci-fi shooter franchise to be on par with things like Halo. So they got together and they made Titanfall, which is a pretty good shooter. It had giant robots, it had guns, it has everything you want in a shooter.
Good things, all.
So Walker, what exactly makes Apex Legends different from other Battle Royale games in the market right now?
The two big things you notice when you see Apex Legends are there's a class-based system similar to TF2 or Overwatch. Mostly Overwatch, they have abilities, and all the gameplay, the only gameplay mode right now is 3-man squads. There's no singles or doubles. So all the gameplay is based around the squads, and it was built from the ground up with 3-man squads in mind.
So speaking of 3-man squads, that's rather interesting for a game to do as their only method of play. So are there any advantages or disadvantages about doing that?
Well, of course, it is early, and we can assume that they will add more modes. But right now, they've decided to keep the focus on positioning and simple gunplay, nothing complex. Of course, you look like the biggest battle royale on the market right now, Fortnite. So much of your skill in that game is determined by your ability to build. Apex Legends just wants to focus on the fundamentals of a shooter game in a battle royale setting.
So regarding these new communication abilities within the game, does that hinder gameplay in any perspective?
The communications features in Apex Legends are quite honestly amazing, and it's just a shame that no other game really has quite the extent. They're incredibly simple, easy to use. You can ping just about anything, say whatever you need to with the click of a couple buttons. Say, hey, I'm moving over here. Hey, I'm watching this area. Hey, go pick up that item. You just click the ping button, move over the wheel. And what's nice about it is it doesn't really take you out of the action. Some games with clunky ping systems, it'll take you out of the action for a second. You gotta find what you're looking for on the ping wheel. With this, it's all in front of you the whole time, and it doesn't detract from the gunplay or survival aspects.
Gotcha.
So there's a lot of Battle Royale games out right now, and I'm sure more are being developed. Is there anything that anyone could learn from Apex Legends?
I think the most important thing about Apex Legends is it is a Battle Royale from the ground up. Of course, if you look at the other big name Battle Royales right now, PUBG, Fortnite, PUBG started out as an armor mod. Fortnite was a survival game that eventually added on a Battle Royale mode. Apex, on the other hand, was built up looking at the Battle Royale genre and thinking, what can we do with it? So you don't have some of the quirks as other games will have as a result of their history. You instead just have what works in the Battle Royale genre, what doesn't. And they've been focused on that the whole time.
So Walker, also talk to us about the marketing strategy behind Apex Legends.
The marketing strategy behind Apex Legends is pretty interesting in that there wasn't really one. They just kind of dropped it last week with no prior announcement. They paid some streamers to play it on Twitch, and that's about it. And it worked. Within 8 hours, there were 100 million unique players. And it just showed you don't need a fancy strategy, and sometimes, in fact, a big strategy can be detrimental. Of course, EA, with the recent Battlefield fiasco, has learned that negative press can be worse than no press. And I think a big part of the marketing strategy was trying not to make Titanfall fans mad, not make them feel like they were getting slighted, and not give anyone time to complain.
Right.
So let's talk about crossplay for a minute, because I know some people really like to be able to play with their friends no matter what console they're on. And you mentioned that it's available for a couple different consoles. Is there crossplay, or are there plans for there to be crossplay?
Crossplay is, of course, a great feature for any multiplayer game to have. It lets you play with your friends, it increases the user base, and Apex Legends has stated that they plan for cross-platforms between all three platforms. Unfortunately, they couldn't get it done on release. It would have required delaying the game more than they would have liked to, but we can be assured that that will be coming.
Gotcha. And Walker, are there any microtransactions or loot boxes within this game?
There are. You can buy in-game currency, which can be used to buy skins, new characters, or just loot boxes, but none of that's necessary. You can unlock the skins, characters, and loot boxes just through gameplay, so it allows the user to go on their own pace. Of course, this is nothing new for games. It's an incredibly profitable model, but Apex Legends has done a good job of implementing it.
Perfect.
And that is Apex Legends. Walker, thank you for joining us. And now, we're going to throw it to Jean-Luc for this week's editorial. Jean-Luc?
It's been almost 4 years since Nintendo first started game development in the mobile scene, and initially, the company's mobile presence was meant to be very supplemental. Nintendo's mobile games, at least when Satoru Iwata was president of the company, were meant to promote the sales of Nintendo consoles and the full experience of the games only available on those consoles. However, with the release of Dragalia Lost, a completely mobile-exclusive Nintendo intellectual property, has the gaming giant's view of the mobile marketplace shifted? Well, to find out, we have to look back to March of 2015, when Nintendo first partnered with Japanese mobile developer DeNA. Back when that deal was made, Nintendo was trying to get out of their slow business period with the Wii U and 3DS. At first, the plan was to make 5 games with DeNA, and even though that deal has been expanded on since, we've seen those 5 initial games solidified. Pokemon Go, Animal Crossing, Pocket Camp, Fire Emblem Heroes, Super Mario Run, and Dragalia Lost have released and have been in app stores for a while now, and none of them have really served the original intent of promoting a full experience on a Nintendo console. All of these games are standalone titles that have their own unique and enjoyable playing experience, completely separate from the same IPs on the Wii U, 3DS, and Switch. I mean, yeah, Miitomo was kinda similar to the 3DS title Tomodachi Life, and Pokemon Shuffle for mobile devices was literally a port of the 3DS title of the same name, but these two applications were minuscule in scale and popularity compared to the other big hits. If all their biggest games being able to stand by themselves wasn't enough to persuade you that Nintendo shifted its mobile game focus after Satoru Iwata's passing, the new president, Tatsumi Kimishida, has also put Nintendo's mobile goals in the public eye. In an interview with Variety, Kimishida details the 2 goals of being involved in the mobile market. First, we want to expose Nintendo intellectual properties for more people by using our IP in smart device applications, and ultimately achieve a synergistic effect without dedicated video game platform business. Second, we want to make the smart device business one of our pillars of revenue. He has even gone on to say that Nintendo is open to reaching out to external teams to develop games as long as it can oversee projects as a whole. It's obvious, Nintendo wants their involvement in the mobile space to be an integral part of their company's brand and to stand side by side with the Switch, contrary to Iwata's original wishes for the platform. However, something that hasn't changed from Iwata's original vision is Nintendo's consoles remaining the ideal platform for fans to enjoy first-party IP content. Developers for Switch have been knocking it out of the park lately, with Smash Ultimate being a universal success, Breath of the Wild reinventing the Zelda franchise, and Super Mario Odyssey bringing back the sandbox 3D Mario formula. Although we'll have to wait and see what they do with Metroid Prime 4, Bayonetta 3, Animal Crossing, and the many other titles awaiting release on Switch. It's a lot easier to keep the ball rolling after crazy good console sales and game reception. So yeah, Nintendo's view of mobile gaming has shifted since its introduction 4 years ago, and both the mobile and console markets are here to stay, albeit separate in Nintendo's eyes. Unfortunately, that probably won't mean any console fulfillment for the Dragalia Lost universe being due anytime soon, but what is certain is twice the amount of quality first-party Nintendo content every year, and there's nothing wrong with that. And now, let's catch up with reviewer Logan Berg to explore our new segment, the PixelPeak GoldMine.
GoldMine. This is GoldMine, a special segment showcasing hidden treasures in the gaming world waiting to be explored. And today, this is Dwarf Fortress, a completely free game in active development by Tarn Adams since 2006. Part roguelite, part RPG, part strategy game, I'd best call Dwarf Fortress a world simulator. Let me explain. When you first load up Dwarf Fortress, you have to generate the world in which you play. From world size to savagery, you have quite a few options of how your world will be. Hit go and it begins to simulate however many years of history you want. And if you don't like it, just generate a completely different world. Let's go with this one, which the game calls the Infinite Plains. Sounds lovely. After world generation, you'll be presented with 3 modes of play: Dwarf Fortress, Adventure, and Legends. Let's look at these in reverse. Legends is quite literally just a recollection of your generated world's lore, detailing every event, every named person, every notable location, and so on. If you'll notice, our world is in the age of the Rock and Hill Titan. Again, a completely randomized detail based on how our world looks. It seems as if a mighty duo of a Rock and Hill Titan dominate the world, and if we check historical figures, yep, they have extensive history. But enough of that, let's get some actual gameplay with Adventure Mode. In this, we'll play an individual of our design to go out and shape the world ourselves. Let's quickly generate a character and... oh my. What does any of this mean? This brings me to a major point of warning to all would-be players. Dwarf Fortress, by default, uses ASCII graphics. This little @ symbol is us. For both our sakes, let's download a graphics mod. Much better. A big joy for me is the combat system. Much like the rest of the game, it's absurdly deep, allowing you to, for instance, specifically stab an enemy's pinky toe. Combat's often quick and brutal too. Don't be surprised if a single fight leaves you maimed if you are careless. And now let's quickly look at the main attraction, Fortress Mode. In this, you act as an omniscient overseer to a party of dwarves colonizing a place of your choosing on the map. But rather than control the dwarves directly, you can only designate jobs. For instance, let's have someone mine out a small room. Much like Adventurer Mode, maintaining a fortress is tough work, and trust me, you'll need to watch some lengthy tutorials to really get everything squared away. This was a very brief look at Dwarf Fortress, and I skimmed the shallowest parts of this vast ocean of the game. I leave it to you to embark on this voyage.
And with that, our second episode of the second season comes to a close. Jean-Luc, how do you feel?
I feel that you definitely had a beard last week.
You're still going on about that. You sure that slow, hypnotic movement of the teleprompter isn't getting to you? I know it gets to me sometimes.
I don't know, man. What I do know is that you should check out our Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram pages at PixelPeak AppTV.
You can also check us out on AppTV and YouTube when we go live every Saturday at 2 p.m. We aren't going anywhere.
And of course, this episode would not have been possible without our incredible crew. Thanks to our writers, Tanner Mizelle, Max Stein, our PC analyst, Walker Peters, and our producers, Kyle Presley and Caitlin Halley, for making our show possible.
Thanks so much for watching, and we hope you enjoyed your stay here
on PixelPeak.
Ryan Little.